Anyways, guys, this is part 3. So we gonna make it quick. I got 20 minutes on here and I got 9% of battery. So I don't know when this thing gonna cut off again. And if it cuts off again, that's it. Story time, video, everything is over. It's done. But where it left off was me and my cousin as a child. I was in middle school. So almost an adolescence, that time right in between becoming a teenager and off the cusp of being a child. Me and my cousin came up with this scheme. It worked the first time, with some receipts and refunding the items, taking the items back home, and having money in our pockets. We did that all summer. The last time, and God did warn my cousin, and through my cousin, he warned me. He did give that warning, because y'all remember that video by Diamond Royal where she was talking about my husband and saying that she wondered if God gave him a warning before he was wrongfully incarcerated, well, wrongfully arrested. And I answered her back saying, yes, God gave him a warning through me. So God gave me a warning through my cuz. My cuz had the worst feeling that day. And if you ask him today, he was like, no, I felt like we shouldn't have did that. We called ourselves, and get this, cousins in crime. Later, when we had a rap group, girl, talk about putting a label on ourselves. But he said he did not feel right about it. And I was like, no, we got to get this money. So we got caught. And I was trying to hint to my cousin, run. He was visiting from Chicago, so he was just on vacation, girl. So, and my grandmama, oh my goodness, my grandmama and his mama was on their way down here to Florida off that Amtrak to come pick him up. Girl, no, or was it the Greyhound? I think it was the Greyhound, because they would either take the Amtrak or the Greyhound from Chicago to Florida. But grandmama, the real OG, was on her way down here, girl. But we had got caught, and the person took our pictures. Basically, they just trespassed us. They said, we're going to give you the chance to call your parents. Baby, they called my dad. I ain't touched nothing else since that ain't mine. It ain't mine. I'll get it away from me. I don't want nothing. I learned my lesson. I too had to learn the lesson, and I could have learned it the long, hard way, but somebody had grace on me. God touched somebody's heart to have grace on me and my cousin, because we both could have started out right then and there in middle school. And he was younger than me. Was he even in middle school? Yeah, he would have been probably just starting middle school. I was on my way. It was the summer before going to ninth grade. So instead of going to ninth grade, I could have been going in juvenile. But God. And I learned my lesson. My dad taught me my lesson there. Ain't never touched nothing else that wasn't mine, right? So the moral is, I wasn't thrown away forever for that. And yes, that was, I'm not even gonna say that was minor. That, I ain't gonna say it was a minor offense, really, because girl, I shouldn't have been doing nothing like that. But I mean, I did. Not proud of it. Learned my lesson. Never again. But it's still not something that my whole life should be taken for. And while I'm serving time on something like that, I shouldn't have to eat food that is not for HUMAN consumption, because that punishment is supposed to be not cruel and unusual punishment, right? We all agree to these terms, these laws, these constitutional rights, right? But then when those are being allegedly violated, we all say it's okay. Like, I don't understand that. But it wouldn't have, the punishment needs to fit the crime. Crime is on a spectrum. You have people there for heinous crimes, and you have people there for petty theft. You might have people that have done things out of addiction and they're no longer addicted, so they're no longer that person. You have people that did things like, God dog, if I'm 44 and that happened when I was 14, that was 30 years ago. You really think I'm the same person from 30 years ago? I'm definitely not. I've done some dumb stuff, like, besides that, dumb stuff that, thank God, he had grace on me to not feel all the consequences and get the judgment I deserved, right? I didn't get all the judgment I deserved. He gave me grace in many times in my life. But let others tell it, you don't deserve the same grace. You committed a crime, allegedly. And now, not only you're already being punished, prison, I'm telling you, even if they were serving for human food, allegedly, it's still going to be a rough ride. It's still going to be a punishment. You're already being punished, like, beyond, to the fullest extent. It is not a cakewalk. It is not, and I haven't even been there, but I have seen it through a loved one's eyes, and I have indulged myself in learning and listening and hearing the stories of those that have witnessed that monster. Now, thank God I'm not holier than thou. I didn't witness that monster, because I could have started my record way back then when I was 14 years old. But by the grace of God, I learned my lesson then. You ain't had to, just like we would get spanked. Girl, you only had to spank me like twice. Never was doing that again. Never. And my mother would lecture me from now until eternity. Like, baby, you couldn't get me to do nothing wrong. I only had to get in trouble 1-2 times. That was it. I'm good. I learned my lesson. I'm good. But just because I learned my lesson that easy doesn't mean that I can pass judgment on someone that it may have took them a couple more times to learn a lesson, and it escalates. If it's petty shoplifting, that can escalate to whatever else. You know what I mean? And no, it is not condoning these things. But what I'm too going to tell you is that a lot of this crime, allegedly, they make the conditions conducive for it. So if they changed a lot of things allegedly in this society, it will bring your crime down. They're doing things allegedly that makes the perfect storm for crime, because allegedly crime pays. In 3rd grade, they're already 3rd grade. What are you, about 8? I ain't got time to do the math right now, but you about that age, and they're already deciding if they want you to be in a prison bed, to be the population of the future, or if they want you to be have a college scholarship. Why are you calling a child's life that early in life? Right? Had a song, I'm about to plug it, girl. I'm about to plug it. Now statistically, he done became what y'all thought he'd be. A young black male in jail or on the streets. Well, if this the game, it seems like it was rigged up to me. He a massive fiancé and don't lie to me. Now from the get-go, they told him that he wouldn't be none. He wouldn't amount to none. Look at him now, he exactly what they told him. Like they predestined him to be statistically the epitome These gutter grimy streets, he wears his pants down to the floor, 'cause that's all he know. Ain't like his father was there to tell or maybe show him. Now he's a player, pimp, a gangster, and everything in between. But can you really actually blame him? The streets and chased off his dream. See, the streets is his reality show. And he's the star. He gets the money, the bling, the women, the fancy cars. But somebody please tell him to end it. 'Cause I don't think he knows the ground, the jail for 20. It's how it goes. See, when a baby is born, his mind is just like clay. You got to mold it, then tell him that, baby, it'll be okay. You gotta tell him that he is a king and women's queens. You gotta tell him to never give up on his dreams. Now, statistically, he done became what y'all thought he'd be. Young black male and jailer on the streets. Well, if this the game, it seems like it was rigged up to me. A massive fiancé, and don't lie to me. Here's your girl Cadillac. But they're making the perfect storms. And they're deciding fates. Early. Sometimes it's almost like they would like them to come out the birthing room. And like, honestly, it's getting that bad. And it's that sad. Girl, it hurts my heart. But we rather witness people getting punishments than to actually rehabilitate. First, prevent. We don't want to prevent the behaviors. We don't want to do nothing. But then we want to be safe, allegedly, in this society. Like, you can't pick which one you want. Which one do you want, honestly? Because you can't have both. You want a safe society, allegedly. This reform needs to happen yesterday. It's the reason, allegedly, your society is not safe. They've made this way, allegedly. So you either want a safe society and reform this system, or you want it to stay the way it is, and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. And prisons are to critical capacity, so they're building, filling, build them, fill them. Eventually, they might have a bed for one of your loved ones. I'm just saying. And then hope you keep the same energy that your grandson, your son shouldn't have never did what he did. So now, allegedly, you're okay with him eating what they said, cattle feed, allegedly. Y'all need help. All I could do is pray for y'all. But anyways, get back to the list of the comments, the holier than thou comments. So don't go to prison. Problem solved. As if it could be that easy. My husband is innocent. He wasn't trying to go to prison. But guess what? In 3rd grade, they already had that bed marked for him, waiting. Right? Allegedly. What are the VICs? They are marked. I'm sorry. Can't read my own handwriting, girl. What are the VICs that they murked? And they are 6 feet under. What are they eating? So that is a portion of people incarcerated. That's alluding to everyone in prison is there for some heinous reason. There are some, but there are many that are not. There are some that are, many that are not. So you punish the not with the some. That is their logic. Punish every goddamn body to the fullest extent because that person did that crime. I can't bear your crimes. I mean, why are you convicting me of your crimes allegedly. I should be convicted of only my crimes allegedly. And I should serve my time for only my crimes allegedly. So why should I receive the punishment? That's like saying the person that is there for petty crime, whatever's a misdemeanor, those that are there for misdemeanors should also be deleted, like those that are there for murk, right? And I wouldn't even put that judgment in humans' hands because there's too many wrongful convictions. And yes, there are wrongfully incarcerated innocent people on D row. So I wouldn't even put that judgment in their hands. But yeah, it just has to happen to them before they change their. So it's not too much of any talking that you can do to people that have their minds made up like this. It's just you have to let them, and God has a way of, if it's not this, something else will happen to them, and they're going to need the same compassion, they're going to need the same justice, and it will not be afforded to them because you reap what you sow. Right? Even though you think you're righteous, you better make sure you're fighting the right fight. Okay. Okay, I did that. The key to not eating it is don't do things that get you sent to prison. Problem solved. Now that's the key in some that opens some doors, but not every instance is right. Because if you're reading this, all I can think of is my husband is wrongfully incarcerated. So please tell me why he has to go through this, right? Or someone that had 6 months in prison, maybe traffic violations, or what else do you go to prison for? That's not that tremendous, but you shouldn't be having cruel and unusual punishment for doing so, right? Allegedly. Okay, you want good food? Don't go to jail. So that's all the holier than thous is probably, it's more holier than thous. If it's that many holier than thous in society, why is our community not like safe? Why is it not good? Like we should live in a utopia because everybody is holier than thou, and how dare, and I would never, and all that stuff. So but then when I look out the window, the world don't look like that. It really don't. But all right, it's your girl Cadillac.